Hi everyone. Today it's a real pleasure for me to have in studio Fay-Yaad Toefy and Emil Krupandan. And we're here today to talk about new research that we just published on the growth patterns of basal sauropodomorph dinosaurs from South Africa. So what I'm going to do is have Emil Krupandan tell us a little bit about the background of the study.
Okay, so traditionally we've assumed that basal sauropodomorphs, smaller omnivorous bipedal ones, versus large sauropod dinosaurs like Argentinosaurus, had different types of growth patterns, with the former being interrupted cyclical growth and the latter having this rapid, uninterrupted growth that allowed attainment of large size. But nowadays, when looking at transitional species that are starting to become quadrupedal, we see the picture is much more complicated and there's a mosaic of growth patterns occurring there, which is what Fayad will expand upon.
So Fayad, can you tell us a bit more about what your research was about?
So the objectives of my research were to look at these three dinosaurs from the Elliott Formation in South Africa. And to do that, we made histological thin sections of their long bones to look at how they grew and how we see that they grew quite quickly with a deposition of rapidly deposited fibrolamellar bone. And all three of these dinosaurs show a majority of their ontogeny being covered by this rapidly deposited growth, and that their lags, the lines of arrested growth, were found in the outermost portions of their cortex in all of them, whereas our most derived dinosaur, we actually saw a deposition of lags in its mid-cortex, which we would have expected from the more basal, early driving sauropodomorphs.
That's really very, very interesting. And if you put this all together, what does this say about sauropodomorph growth patterns?
It says a lot about it. We would have expected these dinosaurs to have grown quite slowly, but we actually see a lot more variation in the growth dynamics as opposed to this very slow growing dinosaurs versus these very fast growing dinosaurs. And we see this more of a pick and choose type of thing where there's a mosaic in terms of their growth dynamics.
That's wonderful. My goodness. So we are beginning to understand how these dinosaurs became giants. In fact, it wasn't just a simple, straightforward story.
No, definitely not.
Sure. Well, if you want to know more about this research, I suggest you find our paper, and it's just published in the Journal of Anatomy, and it will give you a good idea about the research that we did and also the background to the study. Thank you very much.